Hello and welcome to the month of April. My name is Faye and I'm from Your Heart's Path, and quite spontaneously I decided this morning through conversation with my spirit guides that we would pass on some intuitive messages to help support you through the month of April. So if you're new here, welcome. If you're returning, thanks for coming back. Lots has been happening and April is definitely not shy of some surprises. We're going to start the month by looking at the metaphor of a train. I love the way that Spirit described this because there are a couple of different vibrational differences right now. And this has a lot to do with astrology, actually, is my kind of feeling as to where this is sort of showing up in your life. And when we're looking at the collective energy reading, we are considering all sorts of things. It kind of brings in the planets, it brings in what the mind has been adding to the collective current. It's the unconscious, so that which we are becoming conscious of as a collective. So our global lessons and learnings. It's the emotions that get added to the soup, and it's Mother Earth and it's our own soul, and it all kind of contributes to this beautiful energy that ends up creating what I could best describe almost like a weather system. So it's always going to be slightly dependent on where you're placed on that map, if that makes sense. Some parts are going to resonate with you and other parts will not. And that's why I love this use of the train station, because I could sort of sense that some of you are docked at the station and ready to, you've purchased your ticket and you're just in that transit stage where you're waiting for your train to arrive. Some of you are on the train already in like a really deep-seated observation. You're just seeing life kind of pass you by. You're already on your way to where it is that you're going. And others have arrived at their destination or their new destination, and with your bags are kind of exiting the train station to discover this kind of whole brand new life. I feel really drawn to kind of have a look at those in the observation mode, because regardless of where you're at, I do sort of sense that this is a time, whether you're waiting for the train, whether you've left the train, or whether you're sitting on the train, that the energy that comes with sitting on the train and being in observation space where you're kind of just looking at the moment without taking too much radical action, is that you're kind of taking it all in. You're giving yourself permission in that experience to really just soften. And you can almost feel like the current or the rhythm of the train as it sort of rocks you into a bit of like a state of relaxation as well. You're just trusting that you've bought your ticket. The train has told you it's moving from A to B. And when you arrive, there'll be an announcement, the train will stop, and you'll very clearly be in a different space. You'll know that in all of your system. It would be unusual to sit on the train and start to feel quite anxious that you weren't going to where it was that you were told you were going to go, or that you were stressed or fearful that you might miss the stop, or it's sort of this process of kind of deep trust. And so regardless of where you are, I kind of feel like you can use this metaphor of observing with this comfortable kind of rhythm that causes a sense of relaxation and detachment in some sense to where you are going to arrive to, with the knowing that you are kind of being taken care of. And this is an energy that I do kind of feel that we can all lean into a little bit right now, as it's felt pretty shaky. It's also felt really exciting in periods, right? And same if you're kind of sitting on the train, you're looking out, there are going to be moments where it's like so rainy you can't really see out the window, but you kind of look really close and you're just watching the little dripples fall down. There are going to be moments where you move through beautiful big mountains and you see animals in the distance and you're in awe and excitement of where it is that you're going. And then there are going to be moments where perhaps you're distracted by the noise that's around you, or the person knocking on your little carriage door, or you've kind of been nodding off and you're sort of just in this process of what I would describe almost like a bit of a void space. But there is excitement building inside of the system because you are connected to your vehicle of transformation. And that is we're going to look at here like the train. If you're sitting at the station, you feel like you don't have a ticket in your hand, as in you don't really know what it is you're doing, where it is that you're going, you're feeling that really stagnant energy inside of your system right now, I'm going to encourage you. I almost want to say like reach out, I'll give you a hand, or reach out and I will send you in the direction that I intuitively feel like you need to go. Stagnancy is not really the place that we want to be in right now. So the invitation here is what is your vehicle of transformation? Again, there are lessons in all of these different perspectives that we can grasp no matter which part of the train metaphor you are on. So identifying that intuitively, you will know by now, me having described these for you. If you are sensing this feeling of the stuck, the stagnant, and not knowing where it is you are going, the invitation again is to create, accept, step into, join a vehicle that offers a route for transformation for you. This could be something as simple as a yoga membership. This could be joining my House of Mystics group, their online school for, developing your spiritual gifts and listening to your intuition. This could be learning a new skill like EFT tapping. Again, we spoke about some of the intellectual kind of concepts coming in March. It might be a time to learn something completely different or completely new. It could be a cleanse, a washing away, parasite cleanses, liver cleanses. It could be a complete detox. So looking at sobriety for a couple of seasons and seeing how that changes your life. It could be sort of... what is the vehicle for transformation for you? I sort of sense that is going to be unique, but I also do feel like it takes some conscious looking around in your reality to kind of go, okay, what's going to work for me to at least shift out of my current experience? Because the longer you stay in stagnancy right now, the harder it is to move forward. And what it's starting to happen is it's almost that like elastic type effect where the pressure really starts to build in that system. And I don't want for you to just be slung into anywhere. I really want for this to be a conscious decision as to where you land, because no one is going to be in the same position that they currently are now in 6 months' time. We are moving regardless of whether we like this or not. And I would much rather you participate or have conscious decision and choice as to what it looks like that you are about to learn, experience, change, and transform in your life, as you are taking on this kind of sense of responsibility of the co-creation of what it is that you are experiencing. This means overcoming a shit ton of fear. And we're going to get into that when we move into the symbology that came through in regards to the animal spirits today. Who was the third? So we got this person leaving the train station. Thank you. And they're kind of walking. They've got quite a few bags. I really want to highlight that here because it's the same picture and image that they showed to be clairvoyant in the beginning as I'm kind of looking at now as it moves into, it sort of becomes more animated. There's quite a bit of baggage. This could be for those who are moving, have moved, have accepted the new job, have signed up to a new course, are in newly experiencing single life, who's moved to a different state, and you're kind of like, wow, this is a brand new life, and I'm sort of feeling like I want to cling to some of my old patterns in order to create a sense of safety. But there's an equal element of awe here that makes you feel really super present, which I love. New tastes, new touches, new smells, new conversations. What happens when we're in totally new territory, especially when we're looking at the land beneath you, so you're in like a different destination, different house, etc., is that you're going to find that you are more present than you may have previously been because you are more curious about your current environment. You've obviously come from one of those spaces where it was finished, it was done, so this is brand new, and the eyes take a little bit of time to adjust. You can notice with this experience that what happens when we're really super present is that we come back into the body and a lot of emotion can start to arise. So there is this actual wanting to bring some conscious awareness and care to when you need to stop and rest. And I sort of feel like you could look at this like I'm prepared to rest for my soul's purpose. I'm prepared to work for my soul's purpose. I'm prepared to move for my soul's purpose. I'm prepared to eat healthy food for my soul's purpose. I'm prepared to feel my emotions for my soul's purpose. I'm prepared to take a week off for my soul's purpose. Can we see how this is almost like devotion to your higher path, your higher calling? Congratulations, well done. And I also want you to track this at a pace and a rate that is doesn't lead into overwhelm for you, and more so specifically through the lens of the emotional body. I'm just watching you leave the station. Some of the baggage that's come with you is necessary. There's almost like an organization process, like you arrive at your new destination to unpack your bags and you're like, why did I bring that with me? So there is like still a process here of chucking out some of the old stuff and that you brought with you thinking that you might need, and and it's like another layer of sort of like gently letting go. It feels really easy though. And I also do feel like this comes with a little bit of a hermit mode. So you might get to your place, and they're just showing it to me almost just like a hotel at this time. So you're there, you might go out for a little bit for half a day and then come back in because you need to rest and restore. This is really important just to stay connected to your own self. I do kind of feel like this has come with elements of not wanting to lose yourself or feeling as though you had lost yourself. So you've made this decision or change to become more of who you are. And so it's really important that you give yourself time and energy to really deeply arrive in your current experience. And those little bursts of in and out, or out and then in, or rest and then action, it's going to be like a beautiful kind of a little dance. Almost how like a child, as I'm sort of seeing here, like a child's like play, or a puppy even. And it's just like, oh, I need to sleep now. But if we push past that process of sleep, it can start to get tired and grumpy and grizzly, and you might even miss your opportunity to take that rest. So very exciting. It'll start to feel more and more exciting as we get later into April, as we sort of kind of, I want to say on like the mental plane, start to become a little bit clearer. It still kind of does feel a little bit foggy through the mind. There can be this sort of experience of being a little displaced in time. So we've had a lot of this past life stuff surfacing, and this kind of catching up to the present moment, which you in this position, if you are, you know, have arrived somewhere brand new and are really like having to be here in the present moment, you're also going to find that there's this tendency to want to like jump really far again into the future or reflect on your past. And so just do this really, really consciously. A beautiful time to sit and write, to put a candle in your room, to create a beautiful space for rest and relaxation, and to do so consciously, so that you can really arrive at where you have worked so hard to get to. Those of you on the train, we're going to dance between this. There's still a little bit of information. I know I'm jumping around a little bit, but my sense is in this, and my guides are kind of giving a little bit of confirmation. There's a little bit of lessons from each of these vibrations, again, that you can apply to your life. And it might be that you feel you're kind of jumping between a couple of these or all of these anyway. If you are just observing and you're kind of feeling really deeply in that void space, you have your vehicle of transformation, you're feeling really devoted and committed, and you're feeling like grounded, and you're on your way to somewhere. But this kind of sense of purpose feels like something that's out of reach. That's your work, and you can do so in this moment too. I can kind of see you like rewriting what it is that you want for your future. What's your mission statement? What is important to you now and what's not important to you now? What is it that you want and what is it that you need? And I do kind of feel like this comes from a really unapologetic sort of a place. It feels quite raw. It feels quite primal. It feels like it has topics and connections around things like desire, your sex life, it kind of feels like there are other topics and informations in regards to like your health and your well-being, your physical body, the food that you eat, the company that you keep. It's like, if you could have anything, what is it that you would want? If you could have anything, what do you want? And if you could have anything, what is it that you need? And sometimes, and we talk about this, like separating those, and sometimes I just want to like blend it all together and make a beautiful loaf of bread. So blend it all together, make a beautiful loaf of bread, get really real, really true, really raw about what it is that you want, and notice those pieces that surface in regards to, well, I've wanted that for a decade and it's still not here, so I might not be magic at all. And I really, again, want to emphasize this long-term vision, the endurance path that we are on. And some of you have insight into your vision that is still 10 years away, that is still 15 years away. And I want you to be okay with that, knowing that life is not just passing you by, that you are on your way to that space, but you are also able to be present with your current experience, because it's a vibrational transformation. And you have to trust that where you are is where you're capable of being right now. It kind of exposes the absolute divinity. So great time to rewrite your mission in accordance to, I want to say, like the acceptance of the healing journey and the work that you've got to do inwardly, but what is it that you actually want to experience here? I sort of noticed this a little bit in my own life. Traveling wasn't really something that was really like exciting to me, but I've been thinking about it a bit more lately, and I feel like previously I just haven't financially been able to fund it. And I'm kind of looking at this going, okay, well, how can I blend this now? This feels like something that I'm without getting totally overwhelmed or falling asleep or you know, I feel quite driven to have a look at how I could potentially make that possible for my life and still be of service and do all the other things that feel really important to me. So there's some belief system work here that kind of comes to the surface. If we're present enough, we can do this as we move and as we flow. In those periods of retreat, come back and rest. But it can also mean affirming some of the pieces that you want when you get off that train. Okay. One more little download in around this metaphor. And then we're going to move on to some of the symbology in regards to the animals, and we'll tidy it up there. I think we're just going to keep it nice and simple today. Sitting at the train station, I want you to be really super aware about the people, the sounds, the noise in your environment. Some of you are going to love and thrive off this. I almost feel like musical talent can start to come to the surface. Music feels really beautiful, really healing, really supportive right now for conscious, like, emotional release, to lift up your vibration. I feel excited to connect with some of these parts of yourself emotionally that might have felt a little numbed out. It can help you find insight in your own system. It can also be really super exciting, but there's a very different experience between listening to like punk rock at the train station to listening to classical music, or listening to a really sad song to listening to something that makes you want to shake your booty. There's a whole different vibration that kind of happens, and I sense that as you're sitting here waiting for your vehicle of transformation to arrive, or before entering into that space where you jump on the train to get to your next destination, that you have more influence in your current experience than you may realize. And I don't feel like this is a time to just be lazy and let things pass you by. I want you to participate in this by raising your vibration as much as you possibly can throughout the day. This comes in regards to like thought form. So what are you thinking about people that walk past? Are you judging? Are you loving? Are you seeing the best in people? Are you seeing the worst in people? Are you having a really flat experience and kind of ignoring yourself and wanting to put on positive music to ignore the discomfort in your system? You sort of sense where I'm getting with this. I want you to be really honest with yourself, but I also want you to participate in consciously raising your vibration, your awareness, your thoughts, to affect your emotions, your feelings, and your sensations, so that when that train arrives for you, you are ready, you are willing and able to jump onto that train that wants to elevate you into a vibrational experience that is much higher than the one that you have been currently experiencing. I sort of sense in this position here that is like grief. I'm kind of seeing you like nursing. I feel like it's like you might still have your support people like closely around you if you're in this position. I sort of turn around, I'm like, oh, okay, so-and-so's still standing there and so-and-so's still standing there. So you might sort of feel like there are people there that you can lean on. I feel like this is really important. And it may be that you feel like you have no baggage at all and you're just kind of like starting completely all over again with this sort of really focused, like you're really lent in, I'm just here and I'm doing this, I've got nothing to lose kind of experience. And that's also a really beautiful place to be. It does really feel like, well, what's the best that can happen? I know I've said that a few times in the collective energy readings, and I really like that. What's the best that can happen? And I do kind of feel like you're in that awareness there. Interestingly enough, when the music is on, and it's been on what the entirety of the time that I've been watching this vision, I don't feel comfortable to like take these off just yet. So the music, let this be a representation of the vibration or the frequency that you have participation on and how it changes what's in front of you. I also wonder what else you need. That's the question I'm going to ask you here. What is it that you need? And this kind of feels like listening to your own body and your own system. I feel like there's connections here to diet. I also feel like there's connections here to aches and pains in the body. The position of the body being sort of hunched over and really like leaning in over the knees. What is it that prevents you from being sat up straight, being confident in your experience, allowing that beautiful energy to channel through? Or is it just that you're tired and you're needing a little bit of rest? There's multiple different ways to kind of interpret this. And I sort of feel like if you can put yourself in those seats, you'll be able to answer those questions consciously. And what it helps you do is just accept where you're at in your journey, but it also allows for you to, again, participate. Let's raise the vibrations. Let's work on discipline through the mental body to affect those emotions pleasantly. And I kind of feel like some of you start to experience a whole heap of luck here. It doesn't take much to really shift that focus. Luck is something that kind of comes in, and we can transition nice and comfortably here into the energy of the dragon. So thanks to the beautiful train metaphor and the image, there was a lot more information than I thought there would be. But I hope that you can also use that vision if you want to. Perhaps it's in your meditation. Perhaps you arrive at the train station and see what you feel called to go and explore. If you were to get on a train, who's there with you? What's out the window? What's the weather doing? All of these pieces of information clairvoyantly we can begin to read through symbology, through synchronicity in your everyday life when you see the things match up over, as in like what you're seeing in here sort of starts to show up in your outer reality. It can sort of really deeply help connect you to where you're at each day, knowing that you can sort of feel like you're shuffling around a little bit too with this interesting kind of void energy. Perhaps you're in the process where you're selecting which one of those you want to be in. It adds a bit of structure and foundation to vision. When we add a bit of structure and foundation to vision, we're able to experience this, manifest this, step really deeply into it, and stay present with ourselves no matter what it is that's going on in the external world. So less relating to what's going on externally and more relating to what's going on internally, knowing that that's where we affect change in our outer reality. Some big decisions to be made for some people at the moment, and I understand that there is a whole lot of fear that can surface. I really want you to see fear in a way that it's normal, but I want you to know it. I want you to know fear and how it shows up in your life, because it can be very sneaky. It can be very trickstery. It's like I want you to know that you have the tools with metamorphosis to turn fear into a different energy. Love might be too far right now. Maybe it's hope. Maybe you turn fear into hope. Maybe you turn fear into honesty. Maybe you turn fear into clarity. Maybe it's about acknowledging fear, sitting with it and staying with it for long enough that it shows you what it is that you are afraid of, so as that simply your awareness is what diffuses the illusions that are hidden in the fear anyway. We are all going to be working with fear a lot this year. I want you to know what it smells like, how it shows up in your life, what it feels like in your body and in your system. What are the triggers for your fear? Where do you see it creeping in when you feel tired or out of body? And with this, it's gonna, for some of you, this means tools of protection really need to be upgraded right now, because there are energies in those other, like the lower astral planes and things that play with our fears. And so if you're highly sensitive, it's really important that you have the discernment as to, was that my thought or was it someone else's? Was that a projection or an image, or was that a picture or an image from my own internal knowing or one of my guides? It's kind of growing and strengthening your discernment. And if fear arises, which it will for all of us in some capacity, some way, shape or form, that you have a tool that enables you to transcend that experience into a different vibration, so as it's not all overwhelming. Because if it's all overwhelming right now, paralysis kicks in, depression kicks in, anxiety kicks in, self-doubt kicks in, a lot of topics and conversations around worth. So I want you to be able to realize that you are experiencing fear and then go, right, this is the time that I go and get my acupuncture treatment. This is the time that I go and jump in the ocean. This is the time I sit in meditation and I learn to swirl this energy through my body and create something completely different. So color of it, taste of it, touch of it, smell of it, sound of it. Where does it show up inside of your system? I want you to start to track the patterns and the cycles where fear shows up in your life, where it is not only, it blocks vision. It will block vision to keep you safe, because if you were to see all the beautiful things that were coming your way, you might not be able to accept them. You might not be able to open to them. It's a vibration. So whilst we need elements of protection, there is also a wave of moving the fear through your system right now, so as that you can experience life protected, but also open to the possibilities that are constantly available to you, and just like streaming in like big waves. Do you want this? Do you want this? Do you want this? Do you want this? How can you open to the beauty of your life? How can you open to what it is that you've come here to experience? How can you open to your mission? How can you open your gifts? It's like this fear is outdated. It's old. It feels calcified. Again, some of this is past life. Some of this is stuff from your childhood. These are things that you're nursing. You might have seen, patterns from your parents. It's like, it's the sore, tender stuff, but some of it's really ready to just like chip away. It does come with this, what my guides have been describing, like a bit of a cascade of emotion. So a lot of water, a lot of rain may actually even be physically. This is sort of the time where if we don't have good drainage, things can sort of feel like flooding, and that emphasis of like drowning in your own experience, right? So again, a tool to be able to process this. But this kind of movement of water or spirit or intuition or like lightness that gets to move through the system and start to unclog some of these pores and get rid of some of this calcification that's in like right deep down in the bones, in the teeth. This is old stuff. Then you'll find yourself feeling quite dissatisfied with life. And again, that comes with an invitation to rewrite the story, but this all comes from vibration. And we really are understanding that law of the universe at the moment, that everything is vibrational. So just take responsibility. If you don't like it, it's okay. It's not your fault. It's just what you've signed up for. But we do need tools and resources. This is where I feel like we've also got this really interesting experience with the dragon that came through. The spider has also shown up. I've heard of spider bites. I've heard of spiders just coming indoors because the seasons are changing. I've seen them in my dream space. I feel like there is medicine for around spiders that comes in. I see them as like dream weavers. So they're like behind the scenes, you know, making beautiful dreams. And I do kind of feel like if they catch you by surprise, or your dreams catch you by surprise, it can be a little bit frightening. I do kind of feel like if you can sit back and just observe them and see like this beautiful silk that they are weaving and how strong it actually is, and how like if the web gets knocked down, they just get back up and do it again. I do kind of feel like there's some beautiful medicine in things that from the outside might appear ugly or scary or frightening, that if you get close enough, present enough, and curious enough, you will actually start to see the magic in the experience. What do spiders mean for you? I'm super curious. They've always appeared as dream weavers. That's just the way that I read them. But I do kind of feel like there's a whole list of stuff. I can see like this big scroll, and it's unique to you. So what's your experience with the spider? How's it been showing up in your life? I'm really curious as to what surfaces emotionally inside of your system if you look at the spider. What colors are there? How do those colors match up with your, like I'm sort of seeing more like a red spider. And again, I kind of feel drawn to go into the base chakra of the collective and have a look at these themes. But we did touch on that in March. So if you'd like some information, you missed that video, please go back there. We're looking at a healthy and an unhealthy expression of the dragon right now. You might experience a little bit of both of those. When I'm looking at an unhealthy expression of a dragon, or the shadow side, or it's this, it feels really almost like a, like breaking in a horse. That's kind of what they're showing me. But it sort of just feels really like, chaotic, I guess, but almost like it doesn't realize how big it is or how much damage it can do if it can't control itself. I also feel like if it's been locked up, like it's had chains around its feet and its ankles, it's angry right now. If it's felt stuck for too long, if it feels unexpressed, if it feels unsafe, or like it hasn't been able to fly and it's felt trapped or caved in, it can feel really like shaking loose right now. And with that, we kind of want to be mindful where that energy of fire, that it is directed, because if it is unhealthy, it sort of feels like spraying or projecting anger, projecting frustration, projecting on those whom are around you versus taking responsibility for yourself. I sort of feel like there's a little bit of, almost like it kind of comes with a sense of immaturity, where there's an invitation to mature this like a little bit, especially in regards to your relationship, because I don't feel like the dragon feels like that, or relationships. I don't feel like the dragon feels like that whilst it's on its own. But it also, I kind of like, I look at this like patience and impatience, feeling threatened. So the dragon is going to respond in this way if it feels afraid, if it feels threatened, if it feels uncomfortable, if it feels judged, if it feels unsafe. And so I think that this is really important to have a look at. I'm just looking down at my notes because unpredictable. That was the other thing here. And also obviously fear. So we did have a quick look at the fear, but the unpredictable nature of the dragon that is really afraid is pretty cataclysmic. And so we want to watch this. We want to move the fear so that the dragon doesn't destroy the goodness that exists within its life. But we also want to look at this as an invitation to look at the beauty of the dragon and what happens when it is safer, when it feels healthy, what it can do with that beautiful fire, that passion that grows inside of it, and also when it is not kind of trapped at the ankles or held back from life, that it has this beautiful ability to fly. It comes with wisdom. It comes with ancient knowledge. It comes with a bird's eye view. Dragons have shown up to help me time travel, to move through different dimensions safely. They have a very strong protective energy. And they're very mythical creatures. They're extremely sentient. They do show up as people's guides at times. So if you have a dragon guide, you've worked with the dragon energy, it would be a really beautiful time to invoke that particular guide safely, to work with them in your own personal practice, to get them to show you what it is that you know, like your blind spots. That was something someone mentioned on a post on Instagram I shared. I just loved that. Meditate on, what are my blind spots here? The dragon could help you see that. But it's the wisdom that exists in the body and the being of the dragon. It's this ancient creature that I just feel like not only does it exist in the you know, in the non-physical realm, and they're there all the time, I do kind of feel like it's been mistreated through our own like ideas or our own projection or our own, it's almost like I want to dissociate the dragon. Can I like break it away from like a reptile? Could I break it away from the dark forces? Could I break it away from the dark lords? Could I break it away from that? Because it's not, it's a creature of light. It's a creature of love. And I just feel like if you've been lucky enough to have an experience with a dragon, like how fabulous is that? And also what an honor. But I do kind of sense that this is an energy inside of us. If we can have a look at this through our own internal wisdom, our own kind of path, where has this energy, where does the energy of protected show up or not show up? Where does the energy of wisdom get to take place in your life? Where are you sharing your wisdom? Where are you not? Do you have the capacity to be able to see? Is that something that is calling you in order to feel more comfortable? I just kind of sense that there is different messages here in regards to the dragon that resonate quite differently across the board, depending on where you're at. If I talk about the dragon, you're like, oh, that's so silly. You know, that's way out of, like, how unrealistic is that? Perhaps there's an invitation to go really deeply into your imagination. Perhaps there's an invitation to go into guided meditations that include visualization, to get in touch with your inner child. What would your inner child say about the dragon? Is it something that is just not interesting to you at all? You're not interested in your lineage, your ancestry. Okay, I'm going to stop there. They're just kind of capping me. Thank you. Precision. This kind of arrives me, the dragon's just stopped and it's just like landed back down on the ground. And I also feel like it wants to show me this kind of beautiful texture of this really old tree that I'm looking at. And the tree also is a being that may have lived for hundreds and hundreds of years. If you're in Tasmania, the trees are beautiful and old and also need our support right now. But trees oversee years and years and cycles of time. They have wisdom, they have secrets, they have the ability to communicate with each other underground. They are so profound as teachers, as friends, as allies, as protectors, as wisdom keepers. To sit with tree medicine would be a really beautiful thing. I'm not talking like tree medicine. I'm not into plant medicine at all. I think it's a bypass to spiritual awakening, if you ask me. I think this stuff needs to be done naturally if you want it to be sustainable. Otherwise, what's the point? Sit with the trees and see what happens. See if it's feeling based. How does it communicate with you? Is it feeling based? Is it a knowing? Is it sensation? You know, is it Is it just a sense of relaxation? Do you walk away from that experience and feel like you have a different perspective of life? I kind of feel like they have the ability to show us that beautiful bird's eye view as the dragon does, but also to show us what's going on underneath. And that is the tools that kind of sum up this month. What's going on underneath that's created this experience outside of me? And do I need a new vehicle of transformation? Is this a time to just stop and observe, to collect a little bit more data so I can move forward comfortably? We're in for a little bit of a whirlwind. Have I missed anything? I think there's going to be some conversation and discussion around things like burnout. This is a time for shedding for some people. So weight loss detox, we spoke about that. Be discerning with what resonates with you and what doesn't. From my reading, from other information that you may be collecting at the moment. Because there are so many source points for people, whether they're aware of it or not, it's like we want to make sure that that advice is coming through if we are looking for that, or that guidance is coming through, not from the wounding of the person giving the guidance, but from truth. So what does truth feel like? How does it show up for you? How does it feel in your body? Discernment, I think, is key. Anything else here, please? Whilst this all sounds like really super intense, I am like really excited by this energy. This is a solar plexus upgrade. This is a sacral chakra upgrade, which says to me that all this energy that moved through the base that we had a look at in March is starting to move up the spine and up the system. Creativity through your sacral, like right now for poetry, to move your, not just your pain, but your freaking joy into your creative projects and stuff. Like, it is the best time ever. I kind of see this as like almost like the Mad Hatter, you know, in his zone, kind of just going, have to create this thing because it's here, and you know, like forgetting that it's nighttime, and like forgetting to sleep because the energy just needs to move through the body, and I'm kind of here for that at the moment, actually. Solar plexus is obviously like, you know, it's your power to yourself, it's your own confidence. So what actions can you take to improve your confidence, but where has it potentially been taken away from you as well? Taken away from you is us giving our power away. So for some of you, you're calling aspects of yourself back right now to make decisions from a place of absolute confidence. But if you're collecting a lot of data, please give it time to integrate into your system. So a very felt time that comes with a almost like a desire to be able to see. I do feel like this can sight is something that backs up as a real beautiful confirmation for the sensations that we are experiencing in our body, but it's very hard to lie through this piece here. So sometimes our own feelings and emotions can feel like, especially if it's come from like a trigger or a wound, or we still want to understand where the feelings and the sensations are arising from, if not just from the present moment. And vision is one of those things that acts as a whole nother level, and perhaps that is your key to discernment. If that is you, I'm going to wrap it up here. If you don't want to listen about the House of Mystics, thanks for coming, and I'll see you next month. But for those of you who are curious about this online school for the intuitively sensitive, it starts in the first week of May. I have released the early bird, which is open until the 1st of April, which gives you 10% off payment plans and upfront payment. This is a 4-month live course with over 25 live classes. They're about 2 hours each. This includes some beautiful guest speakers. Prue Barnes is coming in to do some integration pieces, as there is a lot of information. So to allow for that to really settle inside of the body through the lens of radiance and your pleasure through different somatic practices and techniques, which is not my genius, and I just trust her wholeheartedly. So she's going to be with us once a month. We've got Omra doing light language. Luana is coming through with some light transmissions. There's going to be some yoga with Bridie. There's going to be some breath work with Brittany. And there's all of this information that wasn't there when I had my awakening at 19. That threw me into madness, literally. I got lost in my psyche, and this is everything that I needed in that chapter of my life, to come back home, to heal, to understand what I was seeing, sensing, and feeling, to give it, to let it make sense to me, to trust myself intuitively. I just feel like it took me so long to get my feet on the ground because I didn't have the tools, and I was so confused, and I lost so much time talking to dark entities instead of the light, and all of it takes, you know, is quick little checks and a setup of the state of the being. And so this is everything, and this is not just my life in this time round, this is all of my lives, and I'm here to share everything I know. We have so much time. There's a Telegram group, which is like a chat conversation that runs. You can text any time of the day for sharing, to be witnessed, to learn from each other, any questions you need from the practices that we do. It is so full. And so while the price of this course might seem a little higher than anything that I've released before, the energy exchange is 100% going to be there. I've made this as easy as possible with the long-term payment plans. But it's incredible. It all goes onto this beautiful platform, which is really intuitive to use, that you have a whole year to access as a minimum. You will have an option to continue to access the course material beyond that point. And you will, at the end of graduating this course, have the invitation to join the Coven. The Coven is a monthly meeting place for students that I am going to intend to continue to teach. So it will be a place to come and practice everything that you have learnt for like as much as like a coffee a week. I think it's like $30 a month or something. And you can stay for as long as you like, or you can disappear, or you can come and do 2 months and leave again. But it's a place where this community that we build over the next 4 months, and then with that other month of bonus material that comes just to support you to integrate all the information, is that you don't just get left at the end. You've got a space to come into. My intention with this, my long-term vision, is to nurture those of you in the Coven to become teachers in this space. I want to see readers, I want to see channelers, I want to see that are channeling from the light, that are doing this with integrity and accuracy, and it takes training. And so this is the place to come. You've all got gifts, you all have beautiful sensitivity, and we get overwhelmed in them because there isn't place for vision in our life. There isn't place for that conversation. And so it's super normal in my world, in this space. The House of Mystics, Homeschool for the Intuitively Sensitive. No matter where you are around the world, I've shuffled the curriculum for different times in the day, so you can always make some live classes. But as I said, everything will be recorded and uploaded to the platform. If you have any questions about that, find me on Instagram. I will put the link in the description box below so you can jump in and have a look through the Teachable portal there. But honestly, this could be your vehicle for transformation. I'm so excited about it. I feel totally lit up about it. I honestly feel like this is why I'm here on planet Earth and why I experienced everything that I did. And I don't think it's necessary for you to go to the depths of hell like I had to in order to collect the tools or find ways to climb back out of there. You can thrive in your spiritual gifts. You can thrive in your sensitivity, and you are meant to be. It's a guidance system for you to fulfill your mission, contracts and all. So yeah, if you're ready for a multidimensional experience, a multidimensional life where you feel empowered, satisfied, whole, you know where to find me. All right. April was fun. I'll see you next month.